Hey there guys, what's up? Ragtter here, welcoming you back to Tavern Brawl. This week is spiders everywhere. You're gonna pick a deck and it's going to be infested with web spinners. You don't get to make the deck this time, but it does have some pretty cool cards. I think it mostly consists of spells and buffs. I don't remember seeing any other creatures besides the web spinners. We're competing for a pack of cards this week, and this challenge is honestly pretty fun. When I first sat down to play this game, I thought it was pretty dull. But as the game goes on, it becomes pretty action-packed, and the RNG can really turn the tide of a game. Like I said, these Tavern Brawls aren't very competitive because of that RNG factor. You know, this is more RNG than an actual card game. But they are really fun, and I really enjoyed this one in the end. Now, I picked Paladin because I thought that the buffs, assuming I got any, I was taking a chance here basically, would be very beneficial in overpowering my opponent. You know, since I'm going to get lots of beast cards, buffing them up would give me an advantage over my opponent's beasts. And I make a mistake here initially. My thought was I want to save the coin for if I get a powerful beast. But what I should have done instead was use it to get 2 web spinners, because now my opponent is going to have 3. I've only got the 1. I've only got the 1. And basically, I'm a little bit behind on the tempo now, because he has made more efficient use of his mana than I have. It's not too bad, though. And with the random assortment of beasts you could potentially get, like the Angry Chicken, my least favorite card in the entire game, it can really throw the battle for a loop, let me put it that way. Now I do decide to lay down the coin and give myself the board advantage, so now I've got 2 web spinners and a stupid chicken. If I had saved it, I could have used the Blessing of Kings on it, but honestly, the Angry Chicken is such silence bait. I have no idea what different creatures end up in these pre-made decks, but Lord knows I do not want to invest cards into an Angry Chicken. I won't do it. Now my opponent gets a Silverback Patriarch, which is kind of good and kind of bad. It's good for him because he won't take damage for a long while because of how weak the web spinners are, but it's also bad for him because the more web spinners I sack into it, the more beasts I'm going to get in the end. So it's kind of a trade. I mean, it's one of the better taunts you're going to get with this. Actually, I think it might be one of the only taunts, besides maybe the Iron Fur Grizzly. I can't remember any other beast taunts off the top of my head, but this is the only one that becomes relevant in the game. So my opponent shows that he also has a Jungle Panther, offs my web spinner, and look at who I got! King Crush. In about 5 turns, I'm going to have some real fun with this bad boy. Now, my opponent has severe board dominance over me, so I decide to lay down a couple web spinners, and I think I'm basically going to sacrifice my Jungle Panther. Well, I'm not going to sacrifice it. I'm basically turning it into attack bait. At 2 HP, the Jungle Panther is a really weak minion. So, I can get rid of that Silverback Patriarch, and I do end up doing so. But I'm basically asking that web spinner to throw itself onto me and give him another beast. Just like the bananas, this kind of thing ends up benefiting both you and your opponent, really. Well, actually, not benefiting me at all. This benefits only my opponent. Now, he does show one of the Druid's removal cards, and it offs my Panther without him taking any damage, which is really significant for him. He gets down a couple web spinners, he's got the board advantage, but look at the other card I just got, the Scavenging Hyena. This thing meshes perfectly with this challenge because you want all of these minions to die. Now I end up drawing Humility, and that's a great boon to me because I can turn this Jungle Panther from a threat into a non-factor. Just reduce it to 1 attack. I throw out the Hyena, I throw out the Boar, I off the Boar and my remaining web spinner into both of his minions, and look at how big the Hyena got. And I get the Scavenging Highmane, which again, really strong for this challenge because it gives you more beasts. It gives you more things to off web spinners with and to throw into your opponent's ever-growing army. So I'm really happy with that pickup, and that's going to be my next card of choice, I think. Now my Scavenging Hyena, of course, is a big threat, and when I play out the Highmane, it's going to present a huge obstacle for my opponent to get rid of. A lot of what you'll find with this challenge is that you'll be trading blows with beasts, rather than using removal spells. I haven't seen any removal spells in this Paladin deck. I've only seen buffs and lay on hands. So I honestly can't say what you will or won't get. But my opponent plays the Stranglethorn Tiger, and I decide I'm just going to put down my Highmane and go right for the face. I'm going to make my opponent deal with my big creatures one way or another. And I think that's one of the better ways to play this challenge. Just be aggressive. You've got the creatures to do it. Well, my opponent gets Malorn. Friggin' Malorn. So even if I kill this thing, it's just gonna come back later on. I'm not too perturbed about it though, because I do have the means of dealing with it. Namely in the Blessing of Kings. And I'm debating over and over in my head, do I want to sack the Highmane into it? Do I want to just attack for the face and make him come to me? And that is, in the end, what I decide to do. I throw 2 blessings onto the Highmane, basically saying, if you don't kill me, I'm going to kill you.
Job's done.
My Blessing of Wisdom triggers, I get to draw another Web Spinner, and now I've got this beautiful 10/9 creature just sitting out here, waiting, just waiting for Malorn to throw itself into him. Now, this is an odd trade, because Malorn's going to go back into his deck, but I get 2 hyenas in the immediate, so neither of us really lost anything per se, though I did spend 3 cards on that. It's a weird trade. So his army grows more and more with web spinners and tall striders galore, and he decides that I'm not allowed to have any pet hyenas, so he's gonna kill Bud and Lou. Actually, he's going to go out of his way to do it, throwing minion after minion and even his own hero at them. And I'm not too perturbed about that, because I made him expend a lot to get my board back to where it is. So now I throw out even more web spinners. In a previous recording I was calling them web slingers, and it got annoying even to me, so I scrapped that one. We are starting this post-commentary recording over, and my web spinners are now dominating the board. That doesn't say much though, considering I'm pretty sure the only creatures in these decks are the web spinners, besides the beasts that you draw from said spiders. Now, he gets a very unpleasant creature. I would very much like this 2-headed monstrosity out of here. And his hyena is actually getting quite frightening. In fact, his board is overwhelmingly powerful, but I get a surprise of my own. I get Gajera. Now, I also drew Equality, and that's going to, you guessed it, equalize the board. So I throw down my hyena, I throw down my Stone Tusk Boar, and I decide to just lay into anything he has that has any attacking power to it. The hyena goes down. I actually made a miscalculation there. I should have killed that first, but it doesn't end up mattering in the end because I've got my Silverback Patriarch. Remember, the hyena gets its attack and HP retroactively, so as you're, not retroactively, as you kill things. So if it's not the first thing you're going to take out, well, you're probably going to have a bigger minion to deal with, let's be honest. Now my hyena is quite huge. I've got this nice Silverback Patriarch, and I'm just itching to play both of these legendaries. It's going to be so good! My opponent, I don't say he's unaware, but he's definitely not playing conservative enough for what I'm about to do. Because he just cleared his own board. He's got a stealth minion out there, plus the Direwolf Alpha. The Emperor Cobra comes out, which is basically going to spell the end for King Crush, but I would rather King Crush go down to the Cobra than my awesome, powerful, eating people Hydra. So I put King Crush out there, and I just lop off 8 HP. Just boom, gone, instantly. So, obviously he's going to sack the Emperor Cobra. King Crush goes down, but Now my other powerful minion is basically going to have free reign. The Direwolf Alpha takes a little bit of its own HP off and gives me my own Direwolf Alpha actually, by sacking off my web spinner. My opponent's board looks pretty threatening right now, but I do have a pretty significant lead, so what I'm gonna do is just do a little name dropping. Bop that down, put down my alpha, put down my web spinner, and basically I'm going to have my opponent clear his board in favor of getting rid of my one super awesome minion. I want to see this thing with Wind Fury. That'd be incredible. And you can see my opponent doesn't really know how to react to this. In the end, he does decide to throw both his web spinners at it because, well, what else are you gonna do? And he actually ends up getting his own copy of this minion. And I'm just like, no! No, please. This isn't how I want this to end. But look at the number. Look at the attack stat on this thing climb. 49! Oh my god! 49 before it finally goes down. Now my opponent does have his own, and now I'm fighting against the clock. But here's the thing. In order to make full use of that attack stat, he's going to have to attack something of mine. And what better to top deck than this secret, which will summon a 2-for-1, and not a 2-for-1, a 2-1 minion that will take the attack instead of whatever he's aiming at. Now I have the means of winning the game on the board right here. And he knows this, so he's got to make a big play happen, or else I'm going to take complete advantage of it. So what he wants to do is he wants to eliminate the problematic minion, which is my Direwolf Alpha. But I've got the secret in store that's not going to let him. He throws out Malorn. He's basically... he knows he's on his last legs right now, and nothing he plays will make a significant difference besides clearing out my board. Well, my Noble Sacrifice triggers, and his attack for this turn is wasted. He knows he's lost at this point. He throws off the 1 armor into my poor little minion. My hero minion. Oh! And I actually, the turn that it would have come in most significant, I get the Iron Beak Owl, but my opponent does concede, knowing that he can't get rid of the last 2 attacks that I do have on the board. I get my pack of cards, and we're going to crack those open before we end the video. So that challenge ended up being pretty fun. I think we got to see most of the legendary beasts, if not all of them. I can't recall any others off the top of my head. But I get a pack with 2 rares. Open it up. Nothing too significant, but I think I have copies of these, so they make for nice dust. And that has been this week's Tavern Brawl. I really liked this one, and I hope you did too. Let me know what your experiences with it were, and I will see you next time as we return to the hearth for another fight at the tavern. Until then, guys, take care and have a good one. Bye-bye!